I guess we're both going. That's exciting. So I don't do anything fancy, as you know. As you know, and I just realized, hello, darlings, we are recording right now. Maria West here. Welcome to Love, Truth, and Beauty. This is actually episode 425 and our launch of our seventh season with this segment. And just in time to welcome the Chinese solar New Year of Year of the Fire Horse, which begins on Wednesday, the 4th. And the Lunar New Year starts on the 17th and the 18th of February. So, that being said, I welcome my good friend Ryan Orrock here, who is gracing our first segment of our seventh season. And welcome, Ryan.
It's so good to see you again. I
It's
have
really
missed
great to
you.
see you. And,
It's been a long
I
time.
am reminded, I'm going to tell folks this, that the last time I saw you in person was going on 11 years now. And it was a life-changing session that I had with Ryan after I had been gutted. Yeah, anyways, we won't even go into it. But I lost a huge part of myself. And in this one session, boom, I was reconnected and I rocked it. And I put my house up for sale. I made a shit ton of money and got the hell out of California and started a new life abroad in Europa. And came back to New Mexico in 2020, and it's all good. And we had an amazing conversation a couple of weeks ago because I've been thinking about you. And the reason why I've been thinking about you is that you are one of the three men that I know in my life who are still breathing and vertical, whom I trust implicitly regarding relationships or relationships, whichever way you want to look at it. And and it's been in the back of my mind, but I've been overwhelmed with life as we tend to be. And I just happened to be on the Facebook, which I rarely am these days, and there was your post where you were sharing this amazing journey about your own relationships and how those go. And I'm like, oh, blessings, because that was such a raw post.
Well, first of all, it's so sweet of you to say that about a session 11 years ago. I remember it well too. I remember in sitting Indian style, if we're allowed to say that, still on the ground,
Oh,
and
yeah, is that a no-no? Are we in
you know,
trouble?
and talking about stuff, and yeah, that was so wonderful and magical, and I appreciate your trust. And yeah, that's been the search is relating, I think, is the big challenge in our time, right?
Indeed, indeed.
Whether it's relating to nature or relating to other people or politics or whatever, we have no maps and no frames that are working anymore. Everything's up in the air. And yeah, my personal and the thing in the time of AI, what do we care about besides people's actual real lived experience? So I'm trying to be more vulnerable, sharing the difficult, painful stuff. And I'm learning a lot. Strangely, the last 2, 3 years have been the greatest learning and growing of my life, which is strange.
Mm,
Approaching 50 here. So, yeah, this is the topic right now, and I'm happy that you trust. I appreciate having you.
wow.
You're one of the few, I mean, very, very few women who I would trust and actually send men and women to for just about anything. So, you've plumbed the depths, and
I thank
it's an
you. I thank you.
honor to be here with you. And yeah, that help is needed for this thing. I remember, 20 years ago, people wouldn't have believed you if you said there was such a thing as ritual abuse or, it was nonsensical. That doesn't happen. That's the satanic panic. That's bullshit. But you and I both know and knew people who've been involved, who've been victims in
Indeed.
this. And yeah, and I've worked with a couple of them quite intensely now. And so this work, and these are the most traumatized people that you can imagine, and no one believes them, and no one listens to them.
Indeed, indeed, and that's true. And I remember when I started my first YouTube channel, that was 21 years ago now, because that was in 2005. YouTube launched around, I think it was Valentine's Day. We started in November, October, or November of 2005, and boom, I started in on it. And everybody was looking at me like I was some crazy person. And of course, because it's so horrific in its depth and scope and how absolutely effed up evil it is, people don't want to believe it. They don't want to believe it. I mean, they still don't want to believe the Holocaust actually happened, or that there have been worldwide famines over the millennia, and that the evildoers are actually running the planet. Nobody wants to believe it, and here we are.
Yeah, well, finally we have Epstein and the island and Diddy and all these stories, and we know that children or underage were taken to this island and things happen. And we know that nobody on either political aisle wants to tell you what happened. Biden doesn't want to reveal it, Trump doesn't want to reveal it.
Mhm.
We know that they're probably all involved. And so now I feel quite vindicated and saying, hey, people, look, this has been happening for probably hundreds or thousands of years, right? But
Indeed.
now it's coming into the open. And these people who need the most help, it's so beautiful that you are helping them.
Going into my 40th year after 2026, and our conversation really sparked something, because it's exhausting in the vein of just the scope of how many people you want to reach and how people can reach out to you. Because I don't know about you, but most of the people that I've worked with, they're not on social media. They don't want to be on social media. They don't want their faces planted all over social media. They don't want to be on record. They're terrified to show their faces. And then you have these people, I call them the MK Ultra wannabes, who are, oh, I'm so targeted. And I'm sorry I'm making fun of it, but I have come across these people, and really, these people are criminals. They're grifters, because what they're doing is that they're a distraction to the actual work that needs to happen, and they are really setting back the people who really, really want the help and really need the help by turning it into a fucking circus of bullshit. And they just out themselves, and I just wait. I'm not going to get in anybody's face and publicly shame them. I'll listen to a certain degree, but there is a turning point where it's just obvious. Oh, they just outed themselves. And that's very, very sad for me, and it makes me angry. And this is the matrix world that we live in. And so people like you and I, we've got to get creative. We've got to get discerning. I mean, I've had to learn discernment over and over and over and over again. Just when I think I've got it mastered, I'm in a shitstorm again of bullshit, where I fell for somebody's sob story and the sort of weaponizing of I call it weaponized woundology, or the weaponizing of victimization, where these professional victims, they can work you into a tizzy. So I've had to learn to go, you know what? I've heard this before. I am not falling for it.
Mm.
Um, and I hope that I have not left anybody behind. I don't believe that I have, in terms of the people that I have worked with. I mean, how do you deal with that?
The whole, well, the discernment thing is gigantic, like you
Yes.
said, because it's people can show up and say anything, and they can be either deluded, or they can be telling the truth, or they can be planted by the intelligence apparatus or whatever, you have no idea what's coming to you. Um, and honestly, I took a step back from all of this for quite a while, except for unless I know you personally and I'm diving in with you one-on-one live. Honestly, I don't think I've worked unlive with anyone for quite a while now.
Yeah.
Um, and I only have worked with a couple people quite intensely that you have to filter so expressly. And I finally ended up creating all of these systems for myself that allows me not to get stuck with my time and energy in places that are not serving, because it's
Yes.
it's that, or I've worked with so many people just for free anyway, just giving away myself, figuring out my own money things, and wait, this is healing and shouldn't it be free and all of that. So that's another aspect of it. And finally, I think I've got structures set up. Like you said, it's exhausting, so that we don't have to, I hope, exhaust ourselves moving
Hmm.
forward, and we can choose and give maximum healing and power to those who need it.
Hmm. Indeed. Indeed. What were the sort of key moments for you where you realized this shit's not working for me? Like, can you
In
give an
terms of just the,
example?
this is a fun story because, excuse me a second. Let me get a little bit of water here.
Yeah.
But this is a good story because I found Tantra and I thought, okay, there's a completely different world out here, and we can have these amazing orgasms, and this is going to solve all my relational issues. And then I was doing that in Europe a couple of years, and then I showed up in California, and I thought, okay, in California it's going to be a movement. This thing has been going on since the 60s, the 70s. It's going to be huge. Everyone's going to be doing it. There's going to be all these amazing teachers and gurus and everything. And I got there, and honestly, I was quite disappointed. I why are you relating? I don't know
I,
why you're
I, I
laughing.
totally, I totally relate. I
Yeah,
totally
okay.
relate, but maybe in a different way,
Uh-huh.
because you came from Europa and came back here. Whereas, for me, having grown up when I immigrated to California, that's what I'm calling it now, because you can't call it anything else because it's
Fitting, yeah.
it's legit. Where the joke was there was a tantric master on every street corner in San Francisco, uh, because that's what was being peddled. People were dangerous. They were taking these day-long workshops and then calling themselves tantric masters. It was fucking frightening. It was frightening. And these people were just so, they were pimps and hoes. I'm just going to say it. That's what they were. These people had no consciousness whatsoever, no ability to hold space. They were just getting lubed up to take advantage of the poor soul that was desperate and falling under the spells of these, quite often very attractive and very charismatic sexual beasts. But it didn't go beyond that. It was just so surface and so in the shallow, and no concept whatsoever about human pain. These people are criminals. And I've met quite a few of them all over the world who operate in the same manner and really pushing those buttons. Sexuality, when you think about it, just like money, one of the lowest common denominators of pain and suffering, and really moving that needle into the red line of evil. And then you go into the whole satanic ritual abuse. It's just another form of abuse, all laced up in multiple orgasms and all that kind of stuff. And we can't fall for it. So yeah, I feel you. It was disappointing, and kind of it made me ill to be honest. And it wasn't just men abusing it. It was women abusing it too. And like, wow.
Yeah, sickening. The quote that I always say is a tantric workshop is where you go and pay $500 to spend the weekend with someone who is teaching something that's been passed down from teacher to student after years of preparation for 5,000 or for 5,000 years that they read a book about 2 weeks ago. You know,
It's shocking. It really is. Just
and my
yikes, yikes,
and
yikes.
my other favorite quote is a tantra workshop is where you go to be with women who dress like goddesses.
It's a fashion show. It really is. I mean, it's a LARP. It's a live action role play. Let's just get our sexy outfits and put our goddess on, our dakini and dakas on. I mean, it's like, give me a break, you know. And what's ironic is that the sexual aspect of Tantra is just one little itty bitty minuscule aspect of what Tantra is. It's not all that exciting in the, in the heart of the matter. The whole thing of living and existing and doing it consciously, even amidst your pain and suffering.
Well, we have a very immature society for one thing, but the interesting thing is that all the teachers and all the gurus, after I've gotten to know them closely, they're not any further along than most of the people that they're guiding, and I think that's what you're talking about.
Indeed, that's exactly what I'm talking about. And, I'm not saying that all these people are bad people. They're not. Some of them actually have very good intentions, but there's not enough training, not enough in the background, not enough of their own shadow work. They haven't done the work to unravel and unfold that shadowy, dark, icky, ugly material. Those, I call them the crunchy morselettes of our innate human suffering, and how that comes into play along with a lot of faulty thinking and a lot of emotional sort of unhingement. I mean, I'm all for unraveling emotion, but if you don't know how to think properly and your emotions get the best of you, or they stay hidden in the body until they, jump out as some tumor, we're all in trouble. And that's part of why I think your post that I saw on Facebook was like so important, because you and I have spent years and years and years endeavoring to crack the code of what it means to be relational, what it means to be relational amidst pain and suffering. When your relationship is exploding in real time, and how do you stay connected rather than defaulting to your bonding styles and becoming a slave to that, or remaining enslaved in that? Or how do you communicate when your communication styles are and usually not in different languages. In fact, the people that I know who barely know how to speak to each other in their native tongues actually do a lot better in terms of communicating and relating than the people who know the same language and use the same alphabet. So it's very, very curious, and I'm not claiming to be an expert in it. I mean, I've got my own struggles in it, but I feel like I have cracked the code in terms of the very, very basics to have a very, very amazing and solid foundation where I would never choose someone who hasn't done their basic work. And I think that is key. And I think a lot of people tend to default to the initial attraction or the chemistry. And to me, attraction, immediate chemistry and attraction, those are, those are like it's like the bat signal that says, get the fuck away, say no, because it's really our traumas coming together for a big whoop-de-doo so that it can get all sorted.
I'm curious what you think about this, but yeah, my definition has always been falling in love is when your brain embraces the irrational idea that another person is inordinately dedicated to your happiness.
Wow, that's quite good. That's quite
So yeah,
good.
it's like you said, it's a bit of a mental illness, it's a bit of an
Hmm.
aberration.
Yeah,
And one thing that I did learn from my very good Tantra teacher and Reichian teacher is that whatever you're expecting with your mind is probably not what you're actually going to experience with your body.
indeed.
We
Indeed.
would we would go to these tantric workshops and all the guys would look at these women and just judge them all purely on looks and decide, oh, she's hot. I want to be with her. That'll be fun. And then you would have completely different experiences with completely different people that you never even imagined. And so you really quickly learn to see past the surface into people's energy and experience people on that level. And
Hmm.
then, like you said, the entire journey of communication, that may be the purpose of life or one of the most difficult things to master in life. And yeah, you and I have both spent decades trying to figure that out.
Indeed. And also having been in India a few times and studying, like really studying not just Tantra, but the way of sensation and the way sensation is often guided by neurotransmitters. Oxytocin, dopamine, all of that. And we meet people, and all of a sudden, those cocktails are like ignited, and we think that is love. We see that, oh, yeah, I call it the disease of one-itis, the soulmate kind of thing. It's like, oh, and I know so many people that have fallen for that. I've done it momentarily, but I don't believe in that shit. So for me, anything new agey was always, I always gave it the side eye. It was like, I'm not quite sure I fall for that because I've known way too many people in my sphere end up suffering tremendously and very close to being murdered by people that they felt this compelling attraction to that were merely these biochemical cocktails that get flooded in the body. And I do remember this teacher in India telling us about the cocktails, and I remember thinking, wow, that is really, really true. Like it hadn't occurred to me to make that connection with dopamine and just the love hormones. Gimme, 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 gimme. And that's actually what we're addicted to. And it could be anybody. It doesn't matter. But a lot of those same biochemicals, when they flood our body, we respond, and it's just this instant response. And then when we don't get it, there's this fall, a sort of depression, if you will. The will to live no longer exists. So that was always fascinating to me to like it was always like clockwork. And I could tell people, and people would sit with me during their sessions and try to convince me that, oh, this is the real deal. And sure enough, it was over in, 7, 8 weeks
Well,
only
we're
to be
like,
repeated again.
yeah. Yeah, and we've been there. I've been there in
Yeah.
various durations. But we're so starving for love, touch, connection that we're like a starving person who comes upon a candy bar in the desert, and then we just dive on it and eat it. And then, of course, sometimes all the poison comes up later, and we're like, oh, that wasn't so good after all. So yeah,
Yeah.
discernment is so difficult, so challenging.
Indeed. Indeed. What do you think are the keys for discernment?
After two divorces.
Très bien.
A bunch of breakups. Um, there is not a mental solution for any of this. When you say there's keys, I'm going to say there's no keys because
Hmm.
everyone wants to hand you the keys
Yeah,
and give you the five principles, but it's a physical, lived processing experience, isn't it?
indeed.
Life
It's
and
true.
relationships. And so, whatever rules anyone gives you are a boiled down version of the map that they have in their mind about what to do or what not to do. And everything is situational.
Hmm.
When
Yeah.
I'm talking to women and they say they want true love, and I ask what that would mean, some of them say, well, that's walking hand in hand along the beach in the moonlight. And some of them say that's getting spanked and getting called a slut while I'm tied to the bed, right?
Nice. I like that. I like the contrast.
So everybody has their version and their different way of looking at it and wanting it. And man, life is a playground. You get to decide what you want to
Hmm.
go for. You
Yeah.
know, there's high risk, high reward connections. There's low risk, probably less reward connections. You have to decide whether you want growth, whether you want money, whether you want spiritual experience, whether you want sensation. You get to make all your own decisions. You're like Neo in the Matrix, and
Hmm.
eventually you have the power to kind of figure that out. And I think the only thing you can do is spend a lot of time with yourself. I do a lot of journaling. I do a lot of sitting. I do a lot of meditating.
Hmm.
And when something comes up, say, okay, do I like this? Do I want this? Is this where I continue? And it doesn't matter really whether it's a life partner or a job or a career or anything, just to be aware of it, just to bring awareness into yourself, whatever that analysis is, and then decide whether it's through someone else, through your own journaling, through your meditating, get that clarity. The one thing I do just have as a rule is I try not to make decisions out of emotion.
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah. I wait. I wait for the fire to cool down and for the mental chatter to stop.
Yeah, emotions as opposed to feelings. As my teacher said, feelings are 7 to 14 seconds, so the duration of a conventional orgasm. And emotions are these things that come up from the past and get triggered and can last for hours or days, but they're a mental process that has gotten lodged in the body,
Hmm.
and we make decisions based upon them. The average relationship is 2.9 years because people are moving with the emotion. Like you said, they're triggered into this attraction, first of all. So they
Hmm.
dive in head first. And then when that wears off, they're either another emotion is triggered or they're looking for that high again, or it starts to get difficult, or I can't hold up my mask anymore, or I'm
Yeah.
seeing the reality of the person. And so I just move on. And what you lose in that is you lose the ability to invest over time and create something together.
That is so
And
true.
And that said, I'm the last person to say, you should be looking for the one or the soulmate or whatever. We should have tribes. We should have communities. We should have support. Very few of us do. So
Hmm.
part of the work that I'm doing and maybe you're doing is to reestablish that community, that tribe, so that you aren't getting one-itis. So you aren't so focused on one person trying to fulfill your all your needs because that was historically never a thing.
Yeah.
And I don't, and we've had a little experiment with it over the past 100 years that I think has failed miserably. And we need to find our way back to the tribe. And so all the technologies and abilities and skills and things that we can possibly do to connect in a deeper way, because when this happens, I mean, I remember watching you in your situation, if it's okay for me to
Yeah.
say that,
Very much so.
as someone who cared about you and wanted you to have a better solution than what was
Hmm.
happening, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we need. We need those people around us to support us, to counsel us, to moderate.
Yeah.
I I don't know about polyamory now, but I can tell you when you have two or three lovers and you start to get the same feedback from multiple people, then you start to think, okay, maybe there's something to this.
Yes.
So
You are the
so
common denominator. Oh my God. Oh shit.
Yeah, so I see that as one of the keys is building communities in various ways,
Hmm.
to prevent you from just because, especially also women walking into that field, the man has a consciousness field that will pull you with him no matter what you do. And for men, women have an energetic field that pull him along no matter what he does. So
Hmm.
if you have nothing to counterbalance that, you can get sucked along pretty deeply. Now that doesn't mean that you two don't have a vision that's superior to what's out there. Maybe you do. Maybe you have this tantric partnership coming, and you have this connection to spirit or whatever. But as you said, it can get very dangerous, even up to death, murder, whatever.
Hmm. Yeah,
And you walk into that alone without any support and community, it's going to be very, very perilous indeed.
indeed. Yeah, because a lot of women and men, I'm learning, tend to get isolated in these toxic relationships where there are no outside friendships. It's like this, I don't know what you want to call that. I don't even know what to call it. A toxic bubble where two people are embedded, enmeshed in this. It's a very, very toxic energy field, and it's very low level consciousness at that point when it just becomes this. Ugh.
Yeah, and the thing is, the difference between the true whatever and the false whatever is a razor thin thing sometimes, right? Like I said,
Oh, for
some
sure.
if you see BDSM happening and it's consensual, then it can be this beautiful, wonderful healing experience for someone. And if it's not, it's this horrible, abusive, violent thing that's
Yeah,
happening, right?
yeah.
And so we have all these different shades of it, and they vary often just by what's in people's heads, what they're feeling, what they're intending, what they're wanting. And you can't know that and you can't see that. So, how do you judge from the inside or the outside? I mean, it's almost impossible, which is why we see people get sucked into cults and why spiritual teachings and things, they can be so close to being useful and valuable and healing, but if they're just off a little bit, or if they're just pulling you off a little bit over time, eventually you wake up and you say, what am I doing? Who am I? What
Right,
happened?
right, right. And a lot of people, it's not even about the material, it's just the perceived sense of belonging in a group. It's like that the family unit has been replaced by the cult, by membership, by the group. And it's one of the reasons why I don't want to be part of a group. I really don't. And actually, I'm part of a very big group that I'm endeavoring to extricate myself from because it's that group mind, feel, do, speak thing that is like what I can't have an opinion of my own, or I can't disagree or think for myself. I don't think so. And that's been my experience. Regardless of what kind of group it is, it eventually de-evolves into a totalitarian shit show.
Well, we're all starving again, so
Yes.
whatever we find is what we'll take, and if there's nothing better, that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, it's like I'm good on
Um,
my own and with my people.
yeah, well, it's two different things, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
on one side, it's not good to be too isolated. On the other side, it's not good to be in the wrong group. So, how do you
Yeah.
find the right group or how do you find the right person? And this is the question that you're asking.
Yeah. I weave in and out. That's what I do. Like it.
That's how yeah, you are so individual. You're so specific. You're so unique. I mean, I love it. I love the title of your book. I love how you see things and yeah, you can't be pinned down because you're trying to do that exactly, is have
Yeah.
that discernment to say, okay, now I'm in. Oh, now I'm out. Now I'm in. And that's
Yeah,
how
exactly.
else
And
can
that
you do that?
pisses people off.
If you
It's
decide
very
every
upsetting.
And if you decide, well, I agree with everything the Republicans say or the Democrats say or my religion says or whatever, whenever you do that, you've given up and you've lost and you're then being unconscious, basically.
Yeah, you are defaulting to this egregoric system or
Yeah.
to this pendulum that's gaining momentum one way or the other, and you're giving your energy to it. It's like, no, I don't think so.
Yeah. So you're one of the few people who can swim against the stream, who can think through things and say, I'm in for this, I'm out for this. And I've always respected and loved that about you.
Well, you do the same, my friend. You do the
Sometimes to my
same.
extreme detriment, because my beliefs and I've been on a path now that I look back 15 years of basically stepping outside of the society that I was born into, that I grew up in, and almost looking from the outside, almost being a kind of a hermit.
Mhm.
and and thinking, okay, I can never belong, I can never be with this. But now I think I'm getting to the point where, you know what, I did learn something out there. I have a perspective that's valuable. I want to share it. I've been making my own maps of meaning, and perhaps they're useful for others. So let's see if we can do something with that.
Yeah, very good. And you need to be in hermit mode to have the time and the space for all of that energy to get sorted, because it's such a journey and it's not a one-off. It's like ongoing. And then you got to pause. I mean, this is my own process as well. It's ongoing. I got to pause. I got to step back from it. I've got to smell things. I've got to feel things out. I have to stop thinking, stop obsessing about certain things. And sometimes I got to leave the pile. I got to leave the pile behind for a while and kind of reset, and integrate what has come to me and come through me and is moving through me. And some of it is sticking, some of it isn't, it takes time.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And if anyone had told me when I started basically 20 years ago, oh, this is going to take 20 years, I don't know what I would have done at that point.
I hear you. I hear you. And then when you get to be my age, where 70 is getting closer and closer and closer, and you realize, holy shit. And I think that has been part of the disappointment to me, is that not a lot of my peers have gotten very far.
Say more about that.
Um, I have noticed that a lot of my peers, especially in the human development, human consciousness, the psychological models, the coaching, they're really, really stuck in a very one to two dimensional forum, stuck in the matrix about how it's supposed to look, and that the parameters of wealth and the parameters of amassing physical things are what is important, and how many followers you have on the Instagram or the YouTube or the TikTok, and that kind of quote unquote influence. And that shit just makes me roll my eyes. It's like, oh my God, okay. And they are not very healthy. Their bodies are falling apart. They've got tremors. I mean, it doesn't look good. And I think for me, if it is all working, I feel like from within, so without. So whatever is happening with you internally ought to be reflected externally, and it doesn't seem to be the case. And it's like a lot of the advice that I hear has all been it's cherry picked little sound bites that have been said over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And when you look at the relationships that these people are having, I mean, they're disasters. They're just very low level. So there's something going on. It's like I smell bullshit, um, and they're making a shit ton of money. So it has always confused me that the so-called relationship experts, particularly in pop culture, uh, are like, is it all a grift? It seems to be. And but it seems to be that they're grifting people who are either satisfied with the state of their relationships, which aren't in very good states, or they're not really doing the work. And I know that we got into the conversation about just like my various training things over the course of the last, like, say, 15, 20 years on the platforms like Teachable, Kajabi, Udemy, I never can get that right. And how I would sell these courses or people would sign up, it would auto renew. If they were on a year auto renew, and I would check the stats, people aren't opening these things. Like, you're paying me every single year to be a part of, and I'm updating courses and stuff, and nobody's opening them. Like, what the fuck? And I feel icky. I feel gross that I'm literally automatically taking people's money. And do they even know it exists? And I would email people, hey, what's up? And most of the time, I wouldn't even get a response. So that's always troubling to me. It's like, what are the consciousness of these people? I mean, are they there? Have they been taken over by bots? Have they uploaded onto the Singularity platform and they're not really here anymore? I mean, I don't know, but I know, like, last year I had to, like, I just put an end to it. I dissolved these schools because I felt I felt a little criminal, to be honest,
Hmm.
that I'm taking people's money and they're not even engaging it. And of course, my entrepreneurial friends go, "It's not your fucking problem. Just take the money and run." And it's like, no, that doesn't feel good to me.
Good for you. I mean, I feel the same way. And I feel like, well, I want you to actually have the result. If you're paying me or if we're
Right.
working together, I want you to have the result. And I am not necessarily 100% in control of the results. So, I
Yeah, there is
depending
that.
on,
You have to
yeah.
open it at least. At least set up an account other than your payment platform.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh my
Well, you
God.
ask how come I lost faith, but we've all been trained into being these super powerful marketers. And if there was anything that I learned in San Francisco, it was the whole marketing thing, which begins to overshadow. And the reason it begins to overshadow is because what has the path been for personal development for hundreds of years? It's probably been religion, whether
Hmm.
it's whether you're a member, whether you're Catholic and then the priest tells you you shouldn't do this or you should do this, or whether you're in some coven and there's been some sort of
Right. That's
spiritual,
a good point.
right? So there's been some sort of spiritual background and spiritual community behind our personal development. Now we've let go of those spiritual communities. Now, what is the foundation of spiritual development? And there isn't one. And so it's kind of become marketing and sales because that's the people who know how to keep us alive or how
Hmm.
to, make these things work. So we've become experts on marketing and sales, but what I would like to do is to create relationship as the foundation from now on. And I created what I'm calling a customer relationship management. Well, I'm calling this a transformational relationship management
I love it.
software.
I love it. Okay, tell us more.
Yeah, so exactly what you're talking about. Because you asked me the question originally, and it was a fantastic question. How come I lost faith in what was happening? And that's because I saw, yes, one-on-one is very powerful, and depending on who you're working with, one-on-one can be incredible.
Hmm.
But it takes a lot of energy, it takes a lot of focus. You have a limitation on how many people you can help. And so the question becomes, okay, how do I extend or expand or help more people? Or will I really help more people if I create groups, if I create all these online courses that they're telling me to create? And so you're right, people go using all these platforms. However, it's not like people are getting almost as much as working one-on-one with you when they go to these courses for a lot of reasons. If you're in front of me, then I can see exactly what's going on. I can customize exactly to you. I can tell you exactly what you need to hear in the moment. I can't do any of that, even in a group, much less,
Mm-hmm.
on a platform, right? So what I did now that we have AI and now that I had this idea, and I've had this idea for a long time, but now I have the ability to program a piece of software that would have cost a couple $100,000 to make by myself for just a few $100s. So I've been doing that the last 6 months, creating a platform where, yes, someone can get it. And guess what? We are in connection now. You're able to contact me. I'm able to talk to you. I'm able to customize the course so it fits to you and add new content in. I'm able to improve the quality of the journey as it's happening. You get to decide as the learner all of a sudden how long we're going to be in relationship, how deep that's going to go, how often you want to hear from me, what we're going to talk about. And so it gives the learner power again. And the problem
Mm-hmm.
is the learner loses all the power as soon as they buy a course or as soon as they're in a group program. Then the teacher's looking down and either trying to sell more and more because, hey, I've got this course, so I need to sell it before it gets old or before it gets copied. And I created something that solves, I think, all of these issues in that we can interact like you want to with a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people very deeply without having to do the Zoom calls, without having to get the DMs in the middle of the night, without having to check Voxer and Telegram. And so, yeah, I mean, you and I have been there.
Oh yeah.
I've had
I'm
customers or,
still there to a degree. I've
yeah,
just what I have done is I have cut out the group stuff uh,
yeah.
through those platforms and really enjoying my one-on-one clients,
And I do
and
too.
that's I get a lot out of that. But I also have a backlog of questions that come in every single day, either from YouTube or from wherever. And I'm like this. I deer in the headlights, like, oh my God. Okay. And I read through these and I cherry pick them. Oh my God, I'm guilty. I'm guilty of doing it. I'm cherry picking them and addressing them when I can. And it's a shit model.
Yeah. And the first problem is when you're not good enough at getting out there and you don't have enough people. But the second problem is when you're too good and now everyone wants something or a lot of people want something and you don't have a model that you can use to give everybody what they actually need. And I think I've finally figured that out.
Cool.
I mean, that's a lot to say because for me, as far as I'm concerned, what I'm looking at now is the complete next level transformation of the industry. And what it's
Hmm.
going to do, what it's able to do, is take you not just through a constant relationship with me that lasts as long as you need for whatever you want. I just signed up for a course. It was 6 months. I was maybe a fifth of the way to the result that I wanted after 6 months. I wish there was a way for us to keep going. And there really wasn't. It was either a gigantic, expensive coaching program or being in a group where I kind of couldn't get my questions answered. So I just quit. So it was unfortunate that I wasn't able to keep working with this teacher I wanted to work with. Well, this would solve that problem. I could have kept going for maybe 2 years, maybe 2.5 years if I'd wanted
Hmm.
to, until I'd gotten all the answers that I needed from this person about this journey. So that's number one, what it solves for both
Hmm.
sides. But the other side is it also is going to track for you exactly where you are in the journey in all ways. In other words, whether you're dealing with your femininity or masculinity or relating or health or or money, it's going to track, okay, you've done this with this person. This is how far you got. This is what you accomplished. This is the next step in your journey. Because that's the other problem that we have is we're constantly looking for the best teachers. That's the only reason
Hmm.
to go on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok is to find somebody cool to learn something fun
Yeah.
from, right?
Yeah.
But that hunt takes so much energy and you never know. Are they just a good marketer or do they do a good job? And
Yeah.
that's because none of this is relational. It's all pretend relationship,
Yeah.
right?
It's all marketing. It really is.
Yeah.
Marketing and it's let's go back to marketing San Francisco style 101. And I remember that marketing journey started for me in 2003 with some I mean, I was part of a mastermind that cost me literally, wait for it, 50,000 fucking dollars.
Back when that was real money.
Holy shit. And
Crazy.
I was shocked. I was shocked because I really, really enjoyed who this person was. I learned a lot from her. And then in the middle of the sort of integration of this year program, not even in the year six, there was an upsell to $100,000. This is after I made back my investment within just a very short time. And I realized, oh, I see what the fuck is going on here. And then I'm being trained to fucking do the same model. And and I just went, oh, net, we're not doing that. Nah. It was so for me out of integrity. But that's the thing. What do you do? What is the main marketing? You press those pained buttons. And it's so sinister. And I just remember thinking when I was in this particular Bay Area marketing guru club, whatever it was, just see, I was literally projecting all these funny faces onto each of these speakers, and they all had fangs and claws. It was just the way they spoke. I want to suck your blood. It's like the eyes are bulging. It's like you could feel the greed coming at you. And if you were in that kind of pain, where you were willing to do anything to make it go away, or the promise that they were making that they would make it go away. I mean, you were in the whole 20 grand.
And the problem is the more easily you frame the solution, the faster you frame it, the more valuable it seems, and the more people want to do it. If
Mm-hmm.
you tell somebody you're in a journey that could take 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
people are not that excited about
No, they're
that.
not.
Say, I can resolve it in a weekend. We can
They
snap our
want
fingers.
instant stuff.
Yeah, and then if you pay me more, then it goes faster, which isn't, it's like saying, well, if you pay me a lot more, you're going to learn the piano way faster. Like really? Is
Like,
that how it's
yeah,
going to work?
bullshit. And I'm a
And
piano
yet we
player,
believe
so
it,
wow.
which is
Yeah.
why you're down to keys again. It may be keys when we have a map, we have when you're a child, you have a very simple map of the world. This is good, this is bad. And this is how things are. And your map gets more and more subtle as you move forward. But the more difficult that your goal is to achieve, the more specific your map has to become. And
Mm-hmm.
actually, the valuable thing is all your failures on the way, I've learned. And
Oh,
so,
indeed, without a doubt.
right? So the people who are the most successful are not because they found the secret magic path. It's because they found all the ways that didn't work and they know how to avoid those. And that gets lost. And people should not share the keys for getting there. They should tell you all the ways you don't get there.
Yeah, yeah. Which to a degree is what I've kind of done.
I believe it. Yeah.
I mean, that's what the book was all about. It's just really just coming clean. And I'm in the middle of doing a third edition because the corrections that I made are all fucked up from the last version. So it's like I gotta come clean on it. It's like, guess
Wow.
what? Shit, I fucked up
Yeah.
again.
Well, good for you for being so honest, for being so open. This system that I've come up with, now you record all your failures. Now you record all the bumps. Now you record all the bruises. And your guide, your mentor, whoever is seeing them, and it goes back
Mhm.
and forth. I just created what I wished I would have ever always had, looking at the golden rule in terms of how I wanted someone to work with me, and that never existed. For
Okay,
being
tell us more about that. That is an intriguing, uh, that's an intriguing entry point right there because
which part
it,
precisely? Yeah.
well, it's your approach to looking at all the fails, looking at what didn't work, and how you would have wanted to be held, directed, um, mentored, healed, perhaps. Let's put that in there. So yeah, tell us more about that for you. I don't want to get too personal if you don't want to, but
No, absolutely. I mean, how many times have I been working with someone and, you're in some deep, intense, transformational thing, and then they're like, well, the obvious one is you're at the therapist, and they're like, time's up, you're
time's up.
sobbing on the couch, and it's like, okay, you just lost the space that was being held for you to go to some deep place, which is why no one actually goes to deep places with their therapists anymore,
Mm-hmm.
because there's
Yeah.
not enough safety to come undone at the
Yeah.
level that you need to actually
Yeah.
rebuild from the
Yeah.
bottom
Well,
up
and they
again.
don't exactly inspire that shit either.
No. Well, and so last night I sat down and I wrote down, because this has been a levels thing for me. I created it, and then I have to step back and say, what did I create and why did I create it? And the first principle that I wrote on this was people are sacred.
Hmm.
Humans are divine. And as soon as you lose that, for as far as I'm concerned, that's the only way you can work with people, from the perspective of everyone is divine, everyone is sacred, everyone is holy, everyone is actually a god or a goddess if you
Yeah.
really want to go
Yeah.
to it,
Waking gods and goddesses. There we go. I love it.
So
I love it.
so so that's the perspective that I started from, and say, okay, if you're a god or a goddess, how am I going to treat you? How are we going to treat each other? Let's build a way to dive in together where that's the foundational assumption at the beginning. Not that you're a wallet, not that you're even just a person, but that we're both divine. And I was grateful that Tantra taught me that at the beginning. Strangely, it's kind of in Mormonism as well, where I grew up, but it's in some sort of esoteric way, but it's very deeply in Tantra that you're the namaste, right? The divine in
Hmm.
me greets the divine in you, that kind of
Indeed.
idea. And the problem is, as soon as you get into the world of doing this stuff, we're all sucked into marketing, tech, managing sometimes. If someone gets really good, then they end up having a team under them. But what
Yeah.
you want to do is be with people and catalyze their transformation. You want to help people grow. You want the world to be better in some way. At least that's how I want it to be.
I
And me
feel you.
and me spending time with you is, I know you're going to make the world better with whatever I can possibly give you. So I want to give you everything I can so that your energy goes out, and together we
Hmm.
start impacting and making things better.
Yeah.
Well, you
Yeah.
can only do that as long as you are relating thou, right?
Yes.
Instead of object, subject,
Yes.
and so that's the first principle. And there's so many others that are just, yeah, baked into this. Sorry, go
Hmm.
ahead.
No, no, no. This is it's heart to heart. Heart is the first eye. And if you're not relating from that space of who and what we truly are as love, love in a body, divine in the body, divine in the flesh, as I say, what the fuck are you doing?
Right. What can you
I
do?
don't understand, the motivations of some of these, some of these, I don't even know what to call them. I mean, they're not really helping people, they're grifting people.
Well, healing happens in relationship. Healing happens
Hmm.
with love, I
Hmm.
think. You were damaged in relationship as a child, or because the relationships were not good, and now you get to have relationships to fix them. The problem is, the traditional therapeutic path for me was not terribly helpful. I had to
Hmm.
go out. That's why I found all
Yeah.
of these crazy people doing all these crazy things, is because I was looking to end my pain. And so I had to go off the beaten path, first
Yeah.
of all. So it's too bad that the normal culture doesn't have a simple path. But you see, everyone's embracing now psychedelics and nootropics and ayahuasca and all this stuff. So we're, even the normal mainstream therapy is admitting, hey, our stuff isn't working and we
Hmm.
need to do something different. But the other thing you want is, you want someone who sees you and sees you long term, whether it's your, let's say we do it well, your basketball coach, your piano teacher. They can see how you're developing. They know what you struggle with. They can give you particular exercises to work on.
Hmm.
And the same thing is possible in a spirituality or emotional healing or relational learning process. It's just that we've all been burned by the gurus so bad
Yes.
that we don't trust ourselves to go there. We don't know. And if we're actually have gifts for people, then we end up getting drained so
Hmm.
deeply that we take years off. And so, like I said, I had to look with the golden rule from both sides. What is it that I would want as a learner or a
Hmm.
grower? And what
Yeah.
would I want as someone who's holding space? And those seem to be at odds with the way we've built things.
Okay.
So I had to align incentives, if you've heard that term
Ah,
before, right?
okay. Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's consequences. There's gifts and there's also consequences.
Yeah. And so I had to align incentives so that what you wanted would help me get what I want, and what I want to do is going to help you get what
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
want.
So
And that
it's a reciprocity. I don't want to say loop. Well, it's a no, I don't want to say loop.
I like the definition of relationship as mutual benefit. I don't
Yes,
know what you
mutual benefit. Yeah.
you like that? Okay. I
Yes.
like and no matter who you're dealing with or who you're working with, everyone has something to give. No one doesn't have anything to give. Everyone has something to give, and everyone has a way to receive. And ironically, the receiving is usually much more difficult than the giving, because when you receive, you can be changed, you can
Hmm.
be altered, you can have a
So
Trojan
true.
horse. Like there was
Yes.
questions you were asking earlier. How do I know if I'm in a toxic relationship or whatever, right? All these things can happen to you. So receiving is very dangerous, very vulnerable. It needs to be held incredibly safe. You
Hmm.
need to be in a container. And so customizing that so that people will be able to be held. Also, I'm not a gigantic fan of, well, if we put everybody in a group, it'll work. No, because
No,
people
it
shut down
doesn't.
in groups.
Yeah.
People are
Yeah.
afraid to talk about the deep thing in the group.
Hmm.
They're
Yeah.
scared enough to talk to you about it one on one, but
Yeah.
they're terrified to talk about it in a group. And plus, they don't have time, they don't have space. And as long as we compress programs down to 6 weeks or 12 weeks or whatever, and we're the teachers deciding, people can never actually get what they need, I
Yeah.
think, as far as transformation
I
goes.
agree with that wholeheartedly. Yeah. So let me ask you this, Ryan. What did you discover that you needed? Like what were what were the three needs? Let's if there were three.
Let's say
I'm
number
curious.
one, time, right?
Okay. Okay.
I mean, optimally, here's what the learner wants. Here's what all of us want. I want to be able to move in with the person I want to learn from and live with them 24/7 and wake them up in the middle of the night and say, I have a question or I'm having an emotional situation. Help me. That's what we all want deep down
Okay.
inside, right?
Yeah.
100% total, continued, dedicated presence. And obviously, that's impossible. And if it were possible, then it would be like the tantric journey where you have one student, for a decade at a time, which
Hmm.
honestly,
Indeed.
I've done stuff like that. So I understand that. And
I
there is
have as
something to be,
well.
yeah, so
In
you have two.
residence, immersion.
Yes. I mean, I've had the people that I've worked with in the last like 8 years, they've all been minimum 3 months. And often we were in the same room together for almost all that time. I mean,
Hmm.
I've done that so many times. And yes, it's relational, it's healing, it's a thing that doesn't have a label, right? But it
Hmm.
certainly doesn't scale. I can't do that with 10
Yeah.
people at
No,
once.
that's for sure. That's for sure.
So
Yeah.
what we want, and when you say number one, we want time, meaning we wish we could be full time with whoever we want to. If I want to learn basketball, I want to live with Michael Jordan, right? And I want to walk around and whatever. Okay, I'm dating myself here, but you know what I'm saying,
Yeah, I
or Phil
do.
Jackson or whatever. But that's what you want. Well, that's not possible. We can't do that in the best of worlds. And okay, well then I want time from you, but then how do I get the time from you over space? And so that was the
Mm.
first problem, because all the teachers are defining the time and I make it so the student defines the time. So number one
Okay.
is time, right?
Okay.
And the number two thing I want is depth. When I start with a course, when I say, okay, this is going to get a little bit theoretical, but there's a learning circle. If there's a result that you want in the world, there's all the things that you need to have to make that happen. If you want to have a successful relationship, here's all the things in this circle. If you
Hmm.
want to make money, there's all these things in this circle, right? And you were born with a certain number of them and you had to learn others. And the problem is when you go to teach, you're going to teach the things that you needed to learn, you're probably going to omit the things that came naturally for you. So if there's a circle of all the things they need to learn, picture Swiss cheese, there's a bunch of holes in it. Things that you're not going to teach, things that you're not going to share, you're not going to know that people don't know. They're prerequisites that you don't even understand.
Hmm.
And so the second thing that I want is there may be a 30-step learning journey, and
Hmm.
I get stuck on step number 2 because I have all these questions that you never even thought were questions. For you, you could just do it naturally out of the
Yeah.
box.
Yeah.
But so what I need in addition to time is the depth, meaning I need to be able to dive into and dig into, hey, you said I should post on TikTok 3 times a week, or it could be you said I need to meditate for 20 minutes a day, but when I do, I feel like I'm being screamed at from all sides, and then
Yeah.
you get a comment back. Well, the way this system works, instead of here's the course content, it's either enough for you or it isn't. It provides the holes that you do need or it doesn't. And instead of doing that, what we're doing with this is if you're the student and you want to keep diving into that one topic, that one area for as long as you want, maybe you want to spend 16 weeks on step 2 and you're asking me every week, but what about this? But what about this? But what about if they say this? And what about if it's a man in a group of 2 women? Or,
Hmm.
like
Yeah.
maybe you want to do that. And these are only your questions and no one else has ever had them before. And no one else is ever going to have them again because this is your childhood that brought up these particular wounds or these particular things. This system allows you to go deep wherever you want for as long as you want.
Love
So you
it.
can sit there and have a conversation back and forth just about one tiny step of your growth journey or leadership journey, whatever you're doing, for as long as you want. And you can sit there and talk to me about it. And I will keep answering questions for as long as you need to about that thing. And you get to keep practicing that thing until that gets filled in that circle for you, that part of it that was
Right.
missing,
Right. Right.
that quadrant. So that was almost never possible except through one-on-one in
Hmm.
person until now. You can't do that in a group, you can't do that in a course, but you can do that with this. So that's what I wanted. Time/presence and depth. Those are the first two.
That's so, so cool. I love it because these questions do come up. They
Yeah,
come up
they do.
again and again. Weird shit, you know? And I
Yes.
think in that process as the learner, we can't be deterred because we can't ask a question or that we ask questions and they get blown off.
And that always happens. How many times have you seen that happen
Lots of
in these
times,
groups?
lots of times. It
Either
happens.
you're too, yeah.
It happens quite a lot,
Yeah,
still.
either you're afraid to ask the question or you ask it and you get a cursory thing, but you have 10 follow-up questions that you're
Hmm.
never able
Yeah,
to ask.
yeah, yeah.
So that is solved. This system solves all of that. There's no question that you have to ask that doesn't get answered. And like you said, some weird stuff you can see in this system. If people ask the same question 10 times,
Hmm.
great. Then I'll just create some more content and drop it right into my course.
Right.
And then that's solved. But if it's
Yeah,
one person asking it only, great. Then I'm going to give them a few
yeah,
paragraphs that are going to
yeah,
help them with this.
yeah.
And so, whether you're blasting it to everybody or pinpointing it to one person, it enables you to do that very simply either way.
Oh, it's so exciting. That's cool.
Yeah, well,
It's just way cool.
the interesting thing is, Maria, this tech that I'm doing, this isn't a weird AI thing. This could have existed 20 years ago if anyone had bothered to do it.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
tech has been here forever. The ideas have not, the concepts have not, the consciousness is not. And
Hmm.
that's why it doesn't exist, or it hasn't existed till now. So when I finally sat down and made it, it was like, oh, yeah, here's all these problems and here's how I could solve them. And I didn't know if I could. But after creating it and doing it and using it, yeah, I could. And there is a better way to do things. And that's the message for anyone who's teaching. I mean, strangely, we're talking to people who are teaching or to you, which I didn't know who we were talking to today, but great, let's do that. That's what I'm working on. So that's what's happening.
Yeah, yeah. Man.
So I'm trying to think, okay, and honestly, it is mind blowing because when I sat down and I'm like, oh, I want this and this and this, and I threw them all into the bucket, and I was like, whoa, what is this? Because it becomes something greater than its parts,
Right,
right?
right.
Eventually. And what it says, what the feedback I've gotten is relationship at scale or
Hmm.
intimacy at scale.
Oh,
right?
God.
And what we've been doing so far is what I call scaling abandonment.
Oh, wow.
So we go
I would have a
from
lot to say for that. Yeah.
So we've been scaling abandonment. We sell, sell, sell. People buy, they step in, and then they're lost. They're confused. They don't get the results. And either they think we're a crappy teacher, which isn't true. We just couldn't give them what they needed because we didn't have the time and energy to do it and the space, or they're crappy. And that's even worse because then they believe they're failures and
Yeah.
they just can't do it. And
Yeah.
so many times I've been in a course and I'm like, I guess I'm just dumb. I guess because you watch the testimonials, everybody else is getting this result. Well, the truth is, there's a bunch of people who come into your world, maybe 1%, but if you work with 100 people, you're going to have one or two or three of them who instantly get whatever the result is,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
because their
True.
circle was almost full and they needed one little piece and they came into your world and you handed it to them and then boom, they get the result and they become your poster child and they're your marketing and look at what these people do and you'll be able to do the same thing when that's actually deceptive as far as I'm
Hmm.
concerned. It's
Hmm.
basically lying
Yeah.
because, what is the average result of someone who does this? Actually, like, give me the metrics, give me the numbers.
Yeah.
Tell me out of 100 people, like you said, how many people didn't show up at all? How many people spent, 6 weeks? How many people did all the stuff that was
Yeah.
required? And how many
Yeah.
people actually get the
That would be
result?
me. I was probably, I think about the courses that I've taken. If I'm going to spend money on stuff, I'm doing the class. I do the class. I put in the questions. I show up during the phone calls and the Q&As. I'm that girl.
So my mentor that I hired 2 years ago, she said, I paid for a $50,000 mastermind. I never go. I just am happy to know that it's there. And I was mind blown because I'm like you. If I pay any money for anything, I'm going to squeeze everything I can out of it. But
Yeah,
yet there's people
that's
who are willing
right.
to drop 100 grand just in case they want to show up for a weekend or
What
whatever.
the fuck?
I
Holy
know. I don't
moly.
understand it.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it either. I don't get it either. But, you know, I'm that person. And I think for me, I was hoping that the people who did sign up for my courses on these various platforms would be that person too. But
Well,
to not even set it up, like
it
not
sounds
even like,
I mean, I can hear the disappointment in your voice because of what you really want, what you really truly want. And correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like you want deep, meaningful connection and
yeah,
you are a sucker for transformation. You want to see people
yeah,
transform.
yeah. I want a better, I want a non-matrix world. That's what I want. I
You
want,
and I are on the same wavelength
yeah,
with that.
that's what I want. Because when I hear the things over and over and over again, I mean, my brain is like, I, I know how to lead the way on this, but it's going to require your participation. And
This is a whole
I think people don't realize that participation requires their attention. It's not just about signing up. It's about like showing up. Open that email,
Yeah, the first key is
create that
attention for
account.
sure.
Holy
Yeah.
moly. Yeah, it's
Well,
weird.
so you want a different world. And honestly, this is a whole second conversation that you and I can have at some
Mhm.
point
Yes.
because this has been a whole other stream of work that's happening. It's connected to this, but it is different
Yeah.
than this.
Yeah.
And you want a different world. And honestly, you're one of the people who can create that different world. And we've been watching a little bit from the sidelines this entire time as psychopaths or child abusing evildoers are
Mhm.
running things
Yeah.
who are blackmailed by intelligence agencies. And I am feeling, I don't know what you're feeling. Uh-oh, I just disappeared. I can see if I can fix that again. Anyway, I'm feeling, and I don't know if you're feeling, that the time has come for that to actually happen, for that
Hmm.
transformation to happen where the changing of the guard takes place and it goes from the those who've been trying to hold on to power for probably a very long time have to hand over the reins to people like you and me.
I agree. I
Do you
agree.
agree?
Here, here. Here,
So
here.
So yeah,
Or
part of this, yeah, uh-huh.
or we're just on a different timeline and we can just blow those people away and not even be in the same reality.
Yeah, either you create a parallel thing. So my camera isn't working. Apologies. I don't know what happened, so we'll just ignore it. But um yeah, either we create our world for ourselves, or the point, you used to be able to go away to the new world or wherever to get away from persecution and whatever's happening. Well, you can't necessarily do that anymore. There's not really anywhere
Hmm.
left to run.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, people do go off grid and whatever, but that just isolates you. It creates other problems. So maybe it is time to actually change things in a deep way, where we are, how we are, and maybe the opportunity is now to do that.
Yeah, I agree. That sounds wonderful. Well, I'm all in. I want this to happen because I this is, we've hit critical mass. And I tell people, kids, we've hit critical mass. We hit it a long time ago. And the time is now to like get to stepping, as they say, and to really engage real uh, focus, attention, and awareness on really unraveling this pain cloud that
Mm.
gets us all to succumb to evil, to forget who and what we truly are, to get us to default into this. It's like this stupor, this haze of, I don't even know what to call it. Unconsciousness. Yeah.
And it's kind of artificial.
Hmm.
I mean, when you
Very
actually get
much.
out there, when you say critical mass, you're exactly right. When you get out there off of social media and you start talking to people in real life, just like you and I met, etc., you find there's a lot of people who want things different. In fact, there's probably nobody who's terribly happy with the way things are besides the groups I named earlier, which means they that be with us are way more than they that be with them.
Hmm.
And we needed a critical mass. You're right. And I thought we might be ready in 2009. We were not ready in 2009.
Nope.
But I do think we are. My feeling is we are ready now, and it's a house of cards that as soon as we just blow on it, these old paradigms and structures and systems, they're just going to collapse,
Here,
and they need
here.
something to replace them. And you have the patterns and the systems to replace them, and I have the patterns and systems to replace them, and that's our job.
Hmm. That is so cool. I love it. I love it. I'm excited. I'm very, very excited. Um, so how does this all, I'm not quite sure how you've done this all. It's a bit of a mystery. And I think that's part of the intrigue of it. I mean, obviously, you on the tech end of stuff, you know what's going on. Um, I mean, uh is this something that I can do?
Yeah, well, it was interesting because originally I wanted to make it just for me because I was like,
Hmm.
okay, I have this idea. I think it's a great idea. I'm going to implement it and I'm going to use it. But like halfway through, Spirit was whispering, no, set it up so that other people can use it too. And the first thing I was inspired to do is the last person I worked with, where there was no way for me to actually get what I needed from her because she did not have structures to help me. I'm like, I'm going to make this for her. And I'm going to say, okay, here's this system. And if you would have had this, then first of all, you would have made $30,000 for me instead of three and a half thousand. But it would have worked way longer. But if that sounds exhausting to you, it would have been way easier and you wouldn't feel the stress and the worry and the burnout that you do now. So that was in the back of my mind when I was doing this for the last several coaches I have had. I haven't been able to continue in some way because of some weird thing in their business model,
Hmm.
honestly. So yeah, you can do it. And what I'm
Where?
going to do is this. So I had to completely extend it. And I'm in the final stages of extending it now. But basically, it's now created to be multi-person so that a lot of us can be in the same thing. And not only So it's going to bring you into community. And I know you had this thing about communities
Hmm.
and you have to be careful with them. You
Yeah.
definitely have to pick the people that you trust and the people that you work with. I absolutely understand that. But my by golly, I'm never going to regret having recommended someone to you or sent someone to you to works. And I know that, you know. And so and this goes into a lot of depth, but what we're able to do with this system is you can put all of your stuff in here, Maria,
Hmm.
and um you can work with whoever you want as long as you want in this way and give them what they need. And you spend very little energy and they are very powerfully supported. And then if people from me want to go work with you, great. They're using the same system, the same tech. They go and work with you. And all of a sudden, we have this community and we can hand people back and forth and go work with them for this for a while
Cool.
and then come over here. So we're going to have a whole community of, I'm going to say, trusted teachers on this platform who can all support each other. And also, they're going to receive also in doing so, if that makes sense. So you're bringing
Yeah.
people into the community. So we're all recommending to each other and we're all receiving from that. And the thing that I love about this, because every course that I've basically wanted to do in the past, whatever, has been okay, now pay me 3,000, 5,000, 7,000, 12,000, whatever. It's
Hmm.
right, this gigantic payment right at the beginning. And then I work for 3 months, 6 months, and then it's over and for most people a gigantic payment, I'm just going to say.
Hmm.
And what this does, it allows people to pay, I'm going to say, no more than 10% of their income in general, and
Hmm.
they can get in at a very low monthly price because your efficiency is so high that you no longer have to charge your hourly rate, whatever that is. You can charge a fraction of it and you're making more money and you're actually working less and you're helping people more. So yes, absolutely. The system is conceived and built so that you and people like you can build a community together. And here's the other thing. If you're on Kajabi, Thinkific, Teachable, whatever, like they don't see what you're doing. They don't care what you're doing. They
No,
don't
they don't
understand.
give a shit.
Yeah. Well, in this system, I can see everything you're doing. I can see how long it takes you to answer people. I can see how many questions are outstanding. So if I can see if there's issues. So there's a way for number one, if you're having challenges, I can
Mhm.
see and step in and support you at any time in the
Okay.
process. And
Cool.
also, if any of your people have issues, there are guarantees in the system of the support they'll receive. I.e., if someone's falling down and not fulfilling their responsibilities, then we can step in and say, "Hey, this is you guaranteed to show up once a week for this person and answer their questions, and you're not doing it. So what are we going to do?" So this
Hmm.
gives anyone who's in the platform, I mean, a guarantee just as much as if they were paying you one-on-one to have your attention, which, like you said, is the first key, your attention on a regular basis, as long as they're paying for it, and know that that's going to happen. Which honestly, I've just spent a lot of money on stuff where that didn't happen. Someone said they were going to show up once a week for a group program, and then they showed up once a month for no reason. Like you said, they're changing the
It's
rules. They're
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's totally violating the golden rule. That's violating truth. That's violating integrity. So anyway, so we all hold each other in account, and the system does that to make sure everyone's getting what they want and what they need, and people are not financially overburdened, and they can work with you as long as they want. Yeah, it is conceived that way. It's almost finished to work like that with
Cool.
multiple people.
It's
Um,
transparency, accountability.
yeah,
Yeah,
there you go. Precisely. So yeah, that's a long answer to a short question.
I love it.
But yes, no, I would be honored to have you participate and be part of this. And I'd be so happy to help you reach more people with this. That's why it was made.
That is so awesome. You're so awesome. That's one of the things that I think it has always struck me about you. And I know that I've interviewed you before. I don't re Was it for YouTube or was it for
I was gonna say, do you know what? You're probably the last podcast interview that I did, like in 2014 or something.
14, 2013, 14, something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
We were talking about the erotic hypnosis stuff and the domination stuff back then.
indeed. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and that can all flow into this as well. But yeah, you were the last person I think so yeah, it's an honor to be asked by you.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, wow. I'm looking at the time and I want to, really honor your time. Um, uh,
I'll talk to you forever, Maria, whatever you want.
because I mean, this is just it's so intriguing because it's not just about transparency and accountability. It's actually about e- engaging people engaging the learners who actually want the tools to be able to really move their lives and transform their lives to how they want their lives. And I think that's part of the, $6 million question is that, when I ask people what you want or how do you want to live your life, what would you like to create? A lot of them don't even know how to answer that. And this system, this platform, if you will, this it's a universe actually. It's actually the creation field universe that you have implemented and designed for us to all access so that we can as as mentors and teachers and also as learners figure this all out together because what I'm feeling like everybody contributes to this platform, to this universe, and this universe is growing.
Well, you just said such an important thing, and that is most people don't know what they want.
Hmm.
So, what course do you sign up for if you don't know what you want?
Yeah.
And the answer is nobody knows. But I have one for that, and you have one for that
Hmm.
now. After we're done talking here, because what I learned, my relational stuff, it started with NVC, but it's called perfect relating, and basically there's three keys to relationship, and that is knowing what you want, asking, and negotiating. And when I started, I thought that asking would be the hard part. And for a lot of people, it is hard or almost impossible to ask for
Hmm.
what you want.
Hmm.
But I was amazed how few of us actually know what we want in the
Isn't that
first place.
amazing?
So this thing is, you could literally set up a course in this system, um, and I have to import all my stuff, and then it's ready. Where you can just sit there with the question of what do you want with someone for as long as they need to figure that out. Like
Hmm.
imagine being able to
Yeah,
take
I
six
love it.
weeks. Yeah.
I love it. In fact, it's one of the I have a group that I meet with. They're in New Zealand and Australia, and these women are survivors of trafficking. And
Hmm.
that question, what do you want? How do you want to live? Where do you see your life going? These are questions that instill a lot of grief, a lot of terror, a lot of
Yes.
shame, because these are questions that have never been asked, and these are questions that are foreign to them.
Yeah.
They're like, and I can relate to a certain degree, um, because I was never asked as a child what it was that I wanted. And so I can think
True.
of several instances where I was asked to make a choice and, just my distress standing there going, huh? I don't even know what to say because, when you don't have choices or you've been programmed or traumatized to believe that you don't have choices or choices were never a thing, that in and of itself is just, I mean, it's a huge opening. And to be able to hold that opening space and watch it grow, I think would be fantastic to witness.
Well, yes, I agree. Imagine being able to take 6 weeks or 6 months just sitting with that question and dive deeper and deeper into it. And the course holds it, the system holds it. B, you're able to do it without taking tons of Maria's time and energy. C, you're still able to pay her enough so that it works for both of you. I mean, I don't know if that's existed before because
Yeah,
exactly that is needed so much.
yeah,
That's the real foundation of
yeah,
everything. You're absolutely right.
yeah, yeah. And to be honest, there's a part of me where I don't know how that works. And I'm also just trusting it. I'm trusting it because my brain has been trained to trade time for dollars,
Right.
although and then creating programs. Uh
Right.
so it's very interesting. It's titillating.
Well, I appreciate you because, this is such a different paradigm that I'm talking from that it takes a while to wrap your head around it, and you have the
Hmm.
patience and depth to dive into it.
Hmm. Well,
We can
I'm
definitely.
intrigued. I'm intrigued because I can feel the effervescence, the sparking in my brain. And it's like, oh, I've got new neural pathways happening. It's so exciting. For an old gal like me, it's like, holy moly. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we can sit down. I can give you a demo. I can run you through it. I can set
Okay.
you up inside so you see what it's like to
Okay,
participate.
we will do
And then
that.
we can do it from there so it's beyond theory and you can see practically how
Yeah,
it
I would
works.
love that. I would love that. And so let me ask you this. We're gonna move off topic somewhat. What else you got going on, honey?
Oh my gosh. Okay. This is off script for anyone who's listening to this degree. This is the secrets. Also, by the way, this system I just created 3 days ago. I extended it so that you can put in your content and then you can have this little button that says click here if you want the deep dive into this. So yeah, so here's the instructions, but if you want to hear the secret story of how I really fucked this up and that's why I know what I know, then you can click here and you can read that and get that.
Oh
So I don't
man.
know of any other system that can do that, but mine can do that now.
Yeah,
But anyway,
that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And that's an even deeper transparency.
yeah.
And people are going to be able to relate to it.
Yeah. Okay, but anyway, back to what else we're doing.
Yeah.
Um honestly, I created well, to step back a bit, like what I said, it's time for us to take over leadership and things are falling apart. So, I have multiple layers, but the bottom layer of it is called healvegas.org. And
Nice.
basically, this is a website where I've started putting together all the stuff that's going wrong here. And there's so much going wrong here, and collecting people to actually fix it. So I don't know if you've ever heard of Rojava before. Have you ever heard of that place, Rojava?
Where have I heard that? I know that. I know that, but
I heard it from Dave. Yeah, I heard it from David Graeber.
okay.
And this is in northern Syria. And this is probably the only place in the world that is free at the moment.
Wow.
In other words, this is an autonomous region where the people are doing their own governing, meaning everybody in the neighborhood is managing their neighborhood, et cetera, right? And they're all making decisions together and they're doing it non-violently and they're not using politics and they're not being partisan and they're not fighting. And honestly, they were kind of forced into this because the entire world, there's a lot of Kurds there. The entire world took away their countries and their lands and everything, so they didn't have much of a choice. But also, they rejected the way of doing things that the rest of us do. And
Outstanding.
yeah, so I mean, I have been researching freedom, which is probably my greatest passion since I was a teenager. Federalist Papers, everything. I was diving into all this stuff, trying to figure out how are we actually going to be free one day. And it's astoundingly simple to achieve freedom. It's not complex. It's just that we don't believe it or it feels difficult or whatever, right?
Hmm.
But my belief is the system has come to such a point that it's going to fall over either on its own or when you flick it or breathe on it. And
Yeah.
so it's time to start conceiving the systems that are going to exist or need to exist for the world we want to have. like you said, out, no more Matrix. And honestly, Maria, I believe that this is going to happen in a big way very soon. And so I've been able to create, also using AI, the infrastructure to be able to do this.
Okay.
So the number one thing that that homeless people, or unhoused as they say nowadays, suffer from, if you ask them what the problem is, they say, I have no ID. So the first problem that I implemented, it's not live yet, but the code exists, is a method, a method for people who don't have ID to have ID.
Hmm.
Because if they're homeless and they want to get their ID, well, they have to have an address to send their birth certificate to. They have to go through all
Right.
the, and this is all very difficult. So, but what is ID? ID is basically reputation management connected to identity management. So what I did is we have this central place where you have a picture of you and basically an eBay-esque rating system for experience. And you're able to, no matter where you are or who you are, or even if you have a cell phone or not, have people have experiences with you, write them down so you get ratings over time, right? And that allows you to have some sort of alternative ID that isn't dependent on the state, that isn't dependent on violence, that isn't dependent on the world around you,
Hmm.
that's 100% voluntary, that allows you, if you do want to change things or move forward in your life, to actually get references on a central system that can be trusted and go from there. So I mean that's one
Wow.
of the yeah, so that's one of the things that I've created here, and it's going to go on that site, and we're piloting this all in Las Vegas. But I mean, I've got stuff about regreening there. Vegas is currently being desertified, which is not good. So I
No,
want
it's
to
not.
regreen, no, so I want to regreen Las Vegas. We've got an initiative for that. We want the corporations to lose their power, which is great because they're already losing money. So, we've got visions for the people who work at the casinos, open or running the casinos, owning the casinos. So that's the thing. And there's all these other visions of, okay, if we were going to replace what's happening now, what would it look like? And people are upset. They're upset with Nevada Energy. They're upset with the
Hmm.
water. They're upset with everything. And they just need organization, leadership, and communication to begin taking back these systems that have been corrupted for so long and start running things ourselves.
Wow. Cool.
So that's
Wow.
my other thing that I'm going all in on right now.
Wow. That's amazing. And that is a very wow. That's huge.
Like I
It's
said, if you're still listening, this is
huge.
hardcore. This is hardcore. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, and I don't know if you how much you played with this, but honestly, AI has allowed me to have something like 40 employees or something for almost no money. So I can write constant articles, I can communicate with people just like the system. Like I can handle as many people as want whatever, and also in any language, which is crazy because of AI now. So this
Hmm.
whole how do we regulate society ourselves, that
Hmm.
has become possible to do for the first time without tons of money, without tons of equipment, without tons
Hmm.
of, anything.
Cool. All righty. I love it.
So
I
yeah,
love it.
those are the two big things going on right now.
Yeah. And how much time do you spend on these projects? Are you like up all night or are you well,
uh,
I mean, one of the things that I'm doing is that
yeah,
well, I'm I'm enjoying my life. Um,
yeah,
and I'm really diving in to good sleep,
yeah,
which
important.
was such an absurd thing back in the day. And I'm
Right.
really appreciating sleep.
Super important. You're right.
Yeah, yeah. But I also
Well,
know a lot of creative people who get by on very little sleep, which I did for many, many, many decades, for probably 30 years. I, got by on very, very little sleep. But I've changed my ways. I'm like appreciating it. It's like, I don't I, I I have it made my egress from hustle culture. I'm not into it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, to answer your question, number one, I had to have a system because I was trying to teach people and I was trying to make groups, but honestly, my sleep schedule just rotates. Like
Okay.
my day becomes night, my night becomes day. So I had to create a system where I could hold people and handle people, even if whether I was up at 3 a.m. or whether I was up at 3 p.m. So this
Mm-hmm.
system allows me to do that because, yeah, honestly, I do not have control of my sleep at all. And to answer your question, how much time? I have no wife, no girlfriend, no children, no responsibilities. So I am spending all of my time on this stuff. This is, my 16 hours a day. I'm involved in this and building this. Plus, basically, to be honest, I retired at 35, 15 years ago. And I've spent a lot of years traveling around, doing what I want, doing the research for all this. And, Spirit told me, like, okay, but now you're going to go back into it. So I'm going to be back in the saddle for, 20, 30, 50 years, whatever it is here. And that's okay. So yeah, it's absolutely all of this is taking all of my time. And that's all
Cool.
right. That's all right. That's what
And
I
it
want.
and it's worthy. It's a worthy cause, venture, projects. They're
Yeah, I
good.
I wouldn't do it if it wasn't creating exactly the world that I want, which is what you
Exactly.
want too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I w and I was, part of me, 2011, I had a great big spiritual breakthrough, and what I wanted to do more than anything at that time is just go sit on the top of a mountain and meditate. And then my plan was to come down after society was burning and the cities were on fire and then like fix things. That was my idea. But
Mm-hmm.
Spirit said, no, go to San Francisco, meet Maria, do other things. So I did that. But yeah, like you couldn't get me to work on anything that I don't believe in since 2011 at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah. Yeah. San Francisco was good that way. I mean, the relationships that
Yes.
I have kept after leaving, gold. And then you left shortly after I left.
Yeah, exactly. That we and hearing what we heard, I mean, I didn't want to leave when I left, but hearing what I've heard about it since then, I'm glad I did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Cool.
you and I find each other when we need to find each other anyway, so the right things happen.
It's very true. It's very true. And then to discover that we actually frequented some of the same places in Europa, which is just fascinating to me. Um,
That is really weird, yeah.
yeah, it really is just so strange. In fact, when I started this second YouTube channel, I was actually in Berlin when I did it, trying to figure out uh-oh. Now what am I going to do? Because the work visas were canceled, and then of course the COVID happened like what, 7 weeks later. So
Wow.
it's like the universe takes us to the places that where we need to be and removes us when we need to go.
Yeah, I lived in Germany for 15 years, so yeah, totally. I didn't want to
Ooh,
leave there.
yeah, yeah. All right, my friend. Do you have any closing words? I just looked and we've been on for almost 2 hours. Holy moly. Time
Um,
just flew.
so first of all, I don't know exactly who we've been talking to this whole time, who your audience is. But I've got one thing that is available for women, and I'm calling that a little bit tongue in cheek, basic femininity, and it's on this platform. And
Ooh,
for women who would like a map of femininity from themselves, either to push against or to incorporate, you're welcome to go to my site, ryanorrock.com. And if you click on begin the disorientation,
I love that. I freaking love that.
yeah, yeah, again, like basically AI allows me to be 10 or like 50% more whatever, creative and intelligent, whatever. Anyway, so if you click there and just tell me what you want, then I will get you in. And what I'm offering right now, and this is also what's possible. Not only am I trying to work with 1,000 people this year personally, one-on-one, as far as their trauma, which you and I should talk about a little bit later, but also I want to offer anyone listening to this who's part of your community the opportunity to get 7 days of actual live one-on-one support with me on this platform, absolutely free. And you're going to get a map that I have worked through and developed with all the things I've been doing and all the 1,000+ women I've worked with over the last 15 years. And yeah, you can argue with me about it or fight about it or say, okay, let me try this out. Either way, that's fine. You're going to get that absolutely free. And then if you want to keep going, well, there's a way to keep going. So yeah, if you want to do that, that's fantastic. And that is one offer for the ladies. I'm assuming you have a lot of ladies
I have a
who are
lot of
listening.
ladies, a lot of men's too.
Okay, and
Yeah.
if you're a man, there's the same thing because you click on the site and the site asks you if you click that button, it says, "Are you a man or a woman?" And that's the scariest thing to ask someone nowadays, but that's what I ask you. That's the first question. And you have to declare for one side or the other. So once you've done that, you click in and you will be on there. You will get my offerings also for men. I've got a thing for men that goes into lover, warrior, sage. It's not fully on the site yet, but you will be
Oh,
alerted when it is. And for women, we're starting with the maiden, mother, and the wise woman paradigm. So we're going through all that. That's going to be coming
beautiful.
out. So yeah, go ahead. You can sign up on the site right now, and you will be dropped in, and you get free support, live support from me. It's not AI. It's not a robot. It's actually me. It's not a course. It's not a group. It's what I think people want or what I would want. So that's what I'm offering you.
That is so beautiful and so generous, Ryan. Thank you so much. I mean, that's amazing. So we will have all of Rand's information in the show notes below. Wow, that is very, very cool. And we will write all of that up. That's exciting. Yeah, I love that. I was at your site when you texted it to me the other day, and I was laughing because I had this one landing page for that was very, very similar. And it posed the question, what what if you're one of those people that could have anything that you want? Would you even know what it was that you wanted? It was kind of like that, and it was like a lot of funny faces of confusion, you know. But when I read the click here for the disorientation to begin, I just was cracking up. I'm like, that is actually very accurate. Um,
Well, you have to unbuild before you can rebuild. And the thing I love about you is you're willing to ask the very deepest questions about the very most fundamental things. And the things that everyone assumes are one way. I used to too. We both got maps when, from our childhoods.
mhm,
Mine said there's a religion that has all the answers for you, and that turned out not to be true. So then I've had to
mhm.
rebuild maps. And and
Yeah,
and I've been trying to think, well, how do I present this now? Honestly, I am what I say in the site is a catalytic cartographer.
that's
And the
cool.
idea yeah, and the idea is let me rebuild a map or show you another one and challenge you with it. And if you like it, great, let's keep going there. So that was the idea behind
Yeah,
that.
I love it. And that is the I would have to say the uh it is the answer to astrocartography because I know I've gotten caught up in that whole thing of the programmed based on the stars and based on this system and that system. And they're all helpful. I'm not poo-pooing them at all. But what you're offering is it's sort of the extended play version that also has like sort of like video and prompts and then some that goes beyond what the stars say.
Yeah, yeah,
You
it's
know?
one thing to go to someone and get a reading. They do tarot or astrology or whatever, and a lot of people are very good at that, and that's wonderful. But yeah, how do you stay in that relationship to have someone guide you through time? How do you make mistakes and continue? I mean, half of what people want when they show up with you, Maria, is for you to say it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you can,
True.
right? They need permission. They need
Yeah.
support. I need it too. I just signed up for this social media course, and honestly, half the time the support that I wanted from this woman was like, "Yeah, you're not completely going the wrong direction." That's all she had to tell me, right? But to get that from her, I have to pay $12,000 for 4 months,
Holy
and I wasn't sure I wanted to do that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and so this is really what's there. You're able to provide that kind of permission and support, And honestly, the end result of this is that you will be developing deep, long-term relationships with people who care about you and your work, and you will end up caring about. That's the result of all of this. And that's what I want to have happen.
That's so beautiful. That is so
And you
beautiful.
and you will do it while being able to hold your boundaries, not being able, not getting sucked out and being, because we've both been there, I'm sure, at least I have, but
Oh yeah.
and that's the amazing thing about it. So it solves for me every problem that I've been facing in this for 15 years.
Love it. Love it. Well, my friend, thank you so much for your time, your presence, your expertise, your love, your creations. Wow. Just so
Thank you.
cool.
Thank you so much. When I have the thing, actually, I didn't tell you about this, but I've created my own YouTube, my own Netflix, my own Twitter, my own, I have all these things also.
Love
So,
it.
and I'm just about and my own podcast host, all of that exists. So when that starts up again, I'm going to definitely invite you on to my stuff and we're going to do the same thing. All right.
Well, thank you so much. And I love you so much. I mean, I'm
Oh,
just like, oh, I'm
oh, I love
blessed.
you too.
I'm blessed. And yes, happy Chinese New Year, year of the
Dearly,
fire
dearly.
horse.
Thank you.
This is going to be fast-paced, kids. And so the keys to this year is focus, focused attention, and
Mm,
grounding, anchoring. Okay.
mm,
And really, really start developing a relationship with who you really are, not
mm.
who you think they are, and not who the matrix tells you that you are. Okay. Those are all just kind of false. So don't go there. Enough is enough.
Beautiful.
All right, my loves, that is it for this segment. And so until next time, here is to love, truth, and beauty. Bye, darlings.